Hey folks, great to talk to you again and pick up this series where we're looking at the challenge to not make history but change the future. And this time I want to talk about principle number one, to be a future changer. Using that whole metaphor that we're thinking about, that life and faith is a marathon relay. Where Paul talks to Timothy in 2 Timothy 2:2 and says, "You've heard me teach these things that have been confirmed by many reliable witnesses. Now teach these truths to other trustworthy people who will be able to pass them on to others." That the life of faith is passing the baton from one generation to another and seeing the kingdom of God, the gospel explode, the good news explode, the kingdom grow, and the future to be changed. How do we see that happen? The first thing for today that I want us to think about is the importance of running your race and not someone else's. To run your race. And what I mean by that is to not be crippled by the curse of comparison. It's so easy, isn't it, to look at other people and what God is doing in other people and actually not feel affirmed and encouraged about what God is doing in us. I remember going to an Urban Saints event once, a camp, and I was speaking on the last night, and there'd been two other evangelists who'd been speaking before me. And both of these guys are brilliant evangelists, and one of them particularly is hilariously funny. And I remember on the Friday, and he was kind of going home, and I was getting ready to speak that night. And before I got up to speak, some young people came up to me and said, "Are you as funny as him?" And when they said that, it absolutely crippled me. I know that it shouldn't, but even as I was preaching, I was thinking, this is not as funny as this guy. If only I was as funny as him, because comparison cripples us. God made us, and He likes it that way. You know, sometimes I have the privilege of speaking in assemblies with young people in various secondary schools. And if I only ever get to speak in an assembly just once, then the message that I want young people to understand is this. In the history of the universe, there will never ever be another you. So don't waste your time trying to be somebody else, but rise up and take your place. Let this world hear the sound of your voice, because no one else can do what you do, the way you can do it, with the mix of strengths and talents and personality that God's given you. If we're going to be people who change the future, we need to stop looking to our left and our right at what God is doing in other people, and we need to embrace His plans and purposes, His destiny for our life, and live it to the fullest. Do you remember that story at the end of John's Gospel where Peter and Jesus are walking along the beach after they've been reconciled? And Peter turns to Jesus at the end of the conversation and says, "Jesus, what are your plans for John?" And Jesus turns to Peter and basically says, "Peter, none of your business. I'm going to do what I want to do with John. You be more concerned about what I want to do with you." The message today, folks, if we're going to be people who change the future, is to run your race. For me to run my race. It's such an important message for us, such an important message for this generation. Let's do it. Let's embrace it. Our race. Let's go for it. And next time, we'll think about the importance of running our race and running it well.